In this video, we're going to cover what is the blockchain. The blockchain. What is a blockchain? A blockchain is a tamper-proof encrypted database secured by cryptography, which is the study of encryption, that acts as an accounting ledger keeping track of digital assets. Instead of being maintained by a single server like traditional databases, blockchains are decentralized and maintained by a distributed network of computers around the world. This database tracks every Bitcoin in the network and each transaction since the very first Bitcoin. You can think of Bitcoin as an accounting system. Through the blockchain, it is a way of recording transactions and value digitally in an open and distributed self-clearing ledger. The word decentralized that you'll hear frequently means there is no central entity or one person with control. Distributed means instead of one central server owned and operated by a singular entity, Bitcoin's ledger is distributed across the globe, making it impossible to shut down as there is no central point of failure. There is no Bitcoin headquarters address for someone to raid, and there is no central server to hack. Value of blockchains. Before blockchains, it wasn't possible to actually own a digital asset. If I send you an MP3 file, you only have a copy, while the original remains with me. There are two copies. When it comes to money, if I send you $10, it's very important that I no longer possess the $10. It's now yours. With blockchain technology, we now have a way to prove and enforce the concept of digital scarcity and track the ownership of digital assets in a decentralized way. The idea that we can have money living on the internet is a breakthrough. We now have the same open access architecture we saw on the internet for communication, but for finance. The first set of internet protocols enabled global permission-free exchange of information, which has completely changed the world. This new set of blockchain-based protocols, or crypto assets, enable global permissionless exchange of value. The ability to exchange value on the internet is a game changer. We will see vastly improved ways of organizing capital, new markets, or even decentralized autonomous organizations, as blockchains will be making decisions and allocating resources and capital in ways that no human can match. Is blockchain technology the new internet? The blockchain is an undeniably ingenious invention, the brainchild of a person or group of people known by the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto. But since then, it has evolved into something greater, and the main question every single person is asking is, what is blockchain? By allowing digital information to be distributed but not copied, blockchain technology created the backbone of a new type of internet. Originally devised for the digital currency, Bitcoin, the tech community is now finding other potential uses for the technology. Bitcoin has been called digital gold, and for a good reason. To date, the total value of the currency is close to $9 billion. And blockchains can make other types of digital value, like the internet or your car. You don't need to know how the blockchain works to use it. However, having a basic knowledge of this new technology shows why it's considered revolutionary. Transparent and incorruptible. The blockchain network lives in a state of consensus, one that automatically checks in with itself every 10 minutes. A kind of self-auditing ecosystem of a digital value, the network reconciles every transaction that happens in 10-minute intervals. Each group of these transactions is referred to as a block. Two important properties result from this. Transparency data is embedded within the network as a whole. By definition, it is public. It cannot be corrupted. Altering any unit of information on the blockchain would mean using a huge amount of computing power to override the entire network. Blockchain solves the problem of manipulation. When I speak about it in the West, People say they trust Google, Facebook, or other banks, but the rest of the world doesn't trust organizations and corporations that much. I mean, Africa, India, the Eastern Europe, or Russia. It's not about the places where people are really rich. Blockchain's opportunities are the highest in the countries that haven't reached that level yet. Quote by Vitalik Buterin, inventor of Ethereum. The idea of decentralization. By design, the blockchain is a decentralized technology. Anything that happens on it is a function of the network as a whole. Some important implications stem from this. By creating a new way to verify transactions, aspects of traditional commerce could become unnecessary. Stock market trades become almost simultaneous on the blockchain, for instance, or it could make types of record keeping like a land registry fully public. And decentralization is already a reality. A global network of computers uses blockchain technology to jointly manage the database that records Bitcoin transactions. That is, Bitcoin is managed by its network and not any one central authority. Decentralization means that network operates on a user-to-user or peer-to-peer basis. The forms of mass collaboration this makes possible are just beginning to be investigated. Who will use the blockchain? As web infrastructure, you don't need to know about the blockchain for it to be useful in your life. Currently, finance offers the strongest use cases for the technology. International remittances, for instance. The World Bank estimates that over 430 billion US dollars in money transfers were sent in 2015. And at the moment, there is a high demand for blockchain developers. The blockchain potentially cuts out the middleman for these types of transactions. Personal computing became accessible to the general public with the invention of the Graphical User Interface, GUI, which took the form of a desktop. Similarly, the most common GUI devised for the blockchain are the so-called wallet applications, which people use to buy things with Bitcoin and store it along with other cryptocurrencies. Transactions online are closely connected to the process of identity verification. It is easy to imagine that wallet apps will transform in the coming years to include other types of identity management. Blockchain, not Bitcoin. There has been plenty of hype amongst banks and businesses about the promises of the underlying technology of blockchain, but not Bitcoin itself. This represents firms building private blockchains, similar to the narrative in the early days of the internet of private intranets versus the public internet. For the same reasons as the internet, blockchain's real value will be in open public blockchains which offer free and open global access as they're not enclosed private systems. Decentralized public blockchains are building an entirely parallel system of finance rather than using the technology to update archaic infrastructure. Bitcoin being digital in and of itself is not entirely revolutionary, as the vast majority of the wealth in the world is already digital. When we check our bank account balances online, we don't actually have that amount of physical money sitting in a bank vault. Money is simply an accounting system. The bank runs its own private internal ledger, that's an accounting mechanism, that keeps track of all the ones and zeros in the system, which is account balances. Until now, the only way to operate such a system was through the rules of a trusted third party. Now, Bitcoin is governed in a decentralized way through the agreement of a fixed set of rules, and people are starting to trust the laws of mathematics much more than the faith of their institutions. In its purest form, currency is confidence. It's a network effect around an agreed upon medium of exchange that has some promise of scarcity. Bitcoin enforces its scarcity through a combination of cryptography and economic incentives called cryptoeconomics. A lot of people find that more comforting than relying on the good faith of a government. In math, we trust. said David Sachs, founder of PayPal.